Okay, today we'll take the grammar. Okay. Before we start, girls, the previous chapter we took the phrase, and we said the phrase is what? Is a group of words.
They have no complete meaning.
Yes, and no subject and no
Predicate.
Yes, phrase is a group of words with no subject and no predicate. We took prepositional phrase and how I use it as an adjective, how I use it as an adverb. We took a positive phrase, and then we took the verbals. Verbals is a word that looks like a verb but functions as something else. Once it functions as an adjective, the participle. Once it functions as a noun, gerund, and once it functions as adjective or noun or adverb, infinitive. So this chapter will take the clause. Clause is also a group of words, but what is the difference between clause and phrase? Clause is a group of words that has
subject and predicate.
It has a subject, it has a predicate, and so it has a complete meaning. Okay, so this clause is our chapter for today, for this week, yani these 3 weeks. The clause. Okay, here is it. Independent clauses and subordinate clauses. These clauses, the clause, once it is independent and once it is subordinate. I have 2 kinds of clauses, independent clause and subordinate clause. Independent clause is a sentence again that can stand alone. It can come alone in the paragraph, or can come alone in an advertisement or anywhere. A sentence that I can say and then I stop talking. It has a subject, it has a verb, and it has a complete thought. Definition of the independent clause is a clause which can be used both as a standalone sentence or with another clause to make a compound or complex sentence. One independent clause can stand alone, or if I want to make it with another independent clause, they will form compound sentence. Okay, what is an example of independent clause? I enjoy eating in a restaurant. I, subject, enjoy, predicate. Eating in a restaurant is the direct object. I enjoy eating in the restaurant because the food is better. Here I added another clause. But if you look at this clause, it says, because the food is better. Because the food, can I say, because the food is better and then I stop talking? What happens because the food is better? So this is an example of subordinate clause. I enjoy eating in a restaurant because the food is better. Because the food is better, the girls, can I say to you, when I woke up in the morning and I stop talking?
No.
No, because you'll tell me, teacher, what happened when you woke up in the morning? Tell me what happened. Okay, so this is an example of subordinate clause with an independent clause. Okay, waiting for the mail to come is tedious. Waiting for the mail to come, all of it is subject, is the verb, tedious is predicate, adjective. Okay, the earth circles around the sun. The earth, subject, circles, verb, around the sun. Prepositional phrase. Independent clause can stand alone as a sentence. The secret of life is honesty, independent clause. If you can fake that, you've got it made. The secret, subject, secret of life, prepositional phrase is verb, honesty is predicate nominative. It is independent clause. If I look here, I have 2 sentences. You've got it made, independent clause. If you can fake that, dependent clause. Why? If I look at if you can fake that, I see if and you can fake that. You can fake that. If I say to you girls, you can fake that, independent or subordinate?
Independent.
And you can fake that is independent. What happened to it? When I added if, when he added if, it became dependent clause. So I can understand that dependent clause in the original, it is independent clause, and then they added a word, we added a word, it became dependent clause or subordinate clause. So subordinate clause was once an independent clause, but add to it a what? If you can say, what is if? We can say that if is what?
Subordinate conjunction.
Yes, subordinate conjunction. So independent clause, I can make it dependent by adding subordinate conjunction. So subordinate clause is the same of independent clause, but plus a subordinate conjunction that comes at the beginning of it. So here is the compound sentence. What is compound sentence, teacher? When I have one standalone sentence and one standalone sentence and I want to put them together. One standalone sentence together, they are a compound sentence. I combine independent clauses using what, girls? Do you remember? One independent clause. I combine them using what?
Conjunction.
Yes, conjunction. Which kind of
Coordinating
conjunction?
conjunction. Yeah.
Coordinated conjunction. Excellent, girls. Coordinated conjunction. Or semicolon. Yes, so fanboys, semicolon, or comma, however, semicolon. Right? So
Yeah.
when I say I like tea, it's a independent clause. He likes coffee, it's an independent clause. I want to combine them together, comma, and, or comma, for, comma, yet, comma, nor. Here, in order to form a compound sentence, I have two independent clauses together connected by fanboys. Subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is a type of clauses which relies on the main clause in order to form a full sentence. It can't come on its own. It can't stand alone. It has to come with another independent clause. A subordinate clause cannot make a complex sentence. This type of clause has a verb, subject, just like any other clause. It is also known as dependent clause. I can say subordinate or dependent clause. This is used to add more information to the sentence. So, can I say where she grew up from a young age and I stop? Where she grew up from a young age and I stop? Can I say that? Girls, can I say that when she grew up from a young age and I stop?
No.
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 It should come with another strong clause. It should come with I met my wife in London. Second one, can I come to you and say, once my husband finishes work, teacher, what happens once your husband finishes work? We will go shopping. Okay? My son has to be in at 7 o'clock. I understand it. Enough. Independent clause. Because I told him to do or to be dependent clause, subordinate clause, it can't come alone. You understand it, girls?
Yes.
Yes.
So, independent clause and subordinate clause. Independent clause can do what, girls?
Stand alone.
It can stand alone. Subordinate clause.
Can't stand alone.
Can't stand alone.
Independent clause has subject, predicate, and complete thought. Subject, predicate, complete thought. Subordinate clause, subject, predicate,
No complete thought. No
Yes.
complete thought.
Independent clause, two independent clauses together, they make compound sentence. Subordinate clauses cannot come alone together. I cannot combine subordinate and that will be enough. No. I can combine subordinate and independent. There should be independent with the subordinate. Subordinate is like a baby. She cannot walk alone in the street. She needs her father to go with. No matter how subordinate clauses I have, maybe I have 3 children. They are walking in the street, but they still need a parent. They still need an independent clause. Subordinate clauses don't come alone. Subordinate clauses should come with independent clause. At least one independent clause, at least. It is like 3 children walking in the street, or 2 children walking in the street, or 1 child walking in the street with an independent clause with a parent. Subordinate clauses used to add more information to sentences. Okay, so this is the main clause. I crept inside. Subject, verb, and the complete predicate. Girls, here. Look how I know it's subordinate clause when there is a conjunction at the beginning. Subordinate conjunction at the beginning. Although, so it is subordinate clause. Who? Subordinate clause. Then I have 2 kinds of subordinate clause. Essential clause and non-essential clause. Essential clause, the information in the clause is necessary to the understanding of this sentence. Essential clauses will tell you which one. And I will understand it more when we take adjective clause. The garage that my uncle built is falling down. Here I cannot eliminate that my uncle built because I don't know which garage. The person checking tickets at the counter asked for a form of identification. The person asked for a form of identification. Who? Which person? Checking ticket at the counter. The woman who interviewed you is my sister. The woman who is the woman who interviewed you in, okay? Here, non-essential clause. Non-essential clause. Non-essential clause, it will be between 2 commas. I can eliminate it. The novel, which I really enjoyed, deserves a second read. It's not important. The novel deserves a second read, which I really enjoyed. Didn't add too much details to the novel. I still don't know which novel. My uncle, who is 80 years old, walks 3 miles every day. It's not important to know how old is he. That's it. So, before we move to an adjective clause, let's answer. Page 153, girls. 153. Girls, are you with me?
Yes, miss.
153. Start solving 153. Exercise, you identify clause. It is independent or subordinate. So easy. As yesterday, I'll pick one and this one will pick another one to answer. But please, girls, be quick. Okay? Number 1, Dalia.
Yes, miss.
Yes, Dalia. Number 1.
Independent.
Yes, independent. Yes. Yalla, pick another one quickly.
Number 2.
Pick any name, Dalia, to answer number 2. Hurry up.
Sarah.
Sarah, 2.
It's independent.
Independent. Yalla, pick one.
Jane.
Lujain.
Number 3, subordinate.
Yes.
Layan.
Layan Maghrabi. Yalla. Quickly.
Yes, it's subordinate.
Yes, subordinate, huh?
Noor.
Noor. Which Noor? Noor Bilal or Noor Yusuf?
Noor Yusuf.
Yalla, Noor Yusuf.
Miss, number 5 is dependent.
They were buried in 6 or more fathoms of water. Dependent or independent?
Independent.
Independent. Excellent. Pick one.
Kadra.
Kadra.
Subordinate.
Subordinate. Yes. Pick one.
Malak.
Malak.
Yes, miss. It's
7.
subordinate.
Subordinate. Pick one.
Natalie.
Natalie. Natalie. Yes.
Yes,
8.
miss.
Independent.
Because a newly married couple wants a drink made with honey. Because it starts with because.
Subordinate.
Yes, subordinate. Pick one, ya Natalie. Pick one to
Layan.
answer. Layan. Yes, Layan, fodder.
Yes. Number 9.
Yes.
Independent.
Independent. Yes, independent clause. Pick one.
Najwa.
Najwa, 10.
It's subordinate.
Subordinate. Excellent. Now we move to adjective clause. Girls, I sometimes you feel that you are stressed teacher, we take 2 lessons per period. I'll tell you. You are in grade 10. And what happened previous year that you, because of the corona and this, you didn't take much of grammar, and you didn't take too many lessons. So that's why this year I'm trying to start with you from the very beginning. We start from the first chapter, and I want to finish with you. Okay? So if any one of you will join SAT, if you will take TOEFL, if you will take IELTS, if you will planning to take any kind of courses next year, grammar is the first key for English. Grammar is very important. Without grammar, you cannot form a sentence correctly. And when you do not speak correctly, when you do not write correctly, it affects you. Okay, so I'm sorry, I feel that I stress you, and I'm too stressed, by the way, preparing 2 lessons in one period. 40 minutes is it needs so much work, but I'm doing it for you, wallah. I am not planning by any way to put any pressure on you, okay? But this is for your benefit, as we can say. Okay?
Yes, miss. Thank you for your concern.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you, Miss.
I've been told from the administration to choose, to choose the lessons that which are more important, but I prefer that you take everything. Adjective clause. Now,
Miss,
yes, dear.
before starting, can you repeat the answers?
Independent, 3 subordinate, 4 subordinate, 5 independent, 6, 7, 8 subordinate, 9 independent, 10 subordinate. Then we have adjective clause. We said we have independent clause and we have subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is a clause that can't come alone. A clause that can't come alone, and he said to me that it adds extra information to the sentence. It adds extra information to the sentence. How does it add extra information to the sentence? Let's see. This subordinate clause I take with me. I take subordinate clause with me, and I once make it, or I treat it as adjective clause, and once I treat it as an adverb clause. Like prepositional phrase. It is the same like prepositional phrase. It comes after the noun it modifies. An adjective clause is a multi-word that contains a subject and a verb. The difference between adjective clause and an adverb phrase, that adjective clause has subject and verb. It tells more information about the noun in the sentence. Adjective clauses depend on other clauses in a sentence. Because we have adjective clauses and we have adverb clauses, in adjective phrases and adverb phrases, both sentences were prepositional phrases. Once I take it as an adjective and once I take it as an adverb. So that's hesitated you a little bit, or mixed you, or confused you a little bit. But here, adjective clauses, you can figure it out of the sentence very easy. Why? Because it always starts with a relative pronoun. Adjective clause always starts with a relative pronoun. What are relative pronouns? Who, whom, whose, which, that. Who, whom, whose, which, that. Sometimes whomever and where. So let's first focus on the relative pronoun. Okay? Here. Who, whom, whose, which, that. Okay? What is a relative pronoun? Relative pronoun, when we used to take the pronouns, these were the 5 kinds of relative pronouns, the most prominent pronouns. These are who, whom, whose, which, that. Adjective clauses start with who, whom, whose, which, that. I saw the man. The man robbed the bank. I want to combine them together. I saw the man who, I replaced the man with who robbed the bank. So, where is the independent and where is the subordinate? I saw the man independent. Who robbed the bank is subordinate. Which one I use as adjective clause? This one, the subordinate clause. Who robbed the bank is a subordinate clause to man. Which man? Who is the man? I'm modifying the man. Number 2, the man had 2 pistols. He robbed the bank. I want to modify what? Pistols or man? Who robbed the bank, girls? Pistols or man?
Man.
Man.
So I take who robbed the bank here after man. Why? Because adjective clause comes after the noun, it modifies. So the man who robbed the bank had 2 pistols. This is the bank. The bank was robbed yesterday. I eliminate the bank and I say this is the bank which was robbed yesterday. Again, adjective clauses come after the noun, it modifies. It gives me extra information about the cake. Which cake? The cake that she bought was delicious. That she bought. Why, teacher, that she bought? Because that is subject, that is relative pronoun. She is subject, bought is verb. All of it is clause because I have subject and a verb. The people, this original sentence would what? The people are good neighbors. The people are good neighbors. In the middle, who live next door. Who live next door? I am modifying people. Here, the game, which was played yesterday, ended in a tie. The game ended in a tie. What was played yesterday? Which game? The one which was played yesterday. Game, modifying game. Sometimes it is without comma and sometimes it is with a comma. Without comma, essential clause. With comma, non-essential clause. I can eliminate it. Okay? I can say the people are good neighbors, but which kind of people? Who are those neighbors who live next door? But when I say the game ended in a tie, which was played yesterday, not very important in the sentence. I visited the town where they met. Which town? Where they met. So adjective clauses come after the noun they modify. It starts with a relative pronoun and then the rest of the sentence. Subject and predicate and this. Sometimes, here girls, I'll add for you, here is a slide. Sometimes, so adjective clauses always start by relative pronouns. But sometimes it starts with relative adverbs. What are relative adverbs? What are relative adverbs? Okay, what's relative adverbs? Where and when. Why, teacher? We said who, whom, whose, which, that. Why take where and when? So adjective clauses always start by relative pronouns. Who, whom, which, that, whose. Why I start with where and when? Why I start with when and when? I start with when and where when I modify a time or a place. So when I say this is Alexandria, where I was born. So here, Where is adverb? Where is an adverb? Because it tells me a place. Where is an adverb? It tells me a place. It talks about a place, girls. Where is an adverb? Because it tells a place. Are you with me? But where I was born modifies what? Modifies Alexandria. Okay, where I was born modifies Alexandria. So, girls, it is adjective because it modifies a noun, Alexandria. Okay, so this is when I use where. In order to modify, I use, let's take another example about the play, a time. That was the year when I took my degree. That was the year when I took my faculty degree. Here, that was the year when I took my faculty degree. When is an adverb also? When is an adverb? When an adverb? Because what, girls? Why? What modifies what?
Year.
Time. Or tells it, because it tells a time. It tells time or modifies a time. Okay, where I took my faculty degree modifies year. Which year? Which year? When I took my faculty degree modifies when. Modifies when. So when and where can be used at the beginning of what, girls? Adjective clauses when modifying a place or time. Understand?
Yes.
Understand? Okay.
Miss, can I ask you a question?
Yes, dear.
Miss, what if we have a preposition before the noun that's being modified? Can we still like consider it as
Where?
noun?
يعني where here? Where?
No, before the example of the sentence before, slide 14.
Here?
Yeah. What if like before the cake we have a preposition?
Before the what?
The cake or anything like before the noun that's being modified, if we have a preposition.
I before the noun, يعني for example over here?
I don't think there is one here, but for example, for anything, I mean the noun that's being
When I see a
modified.
prepositional phrase, don't look at it. I see a prepositional phrase only if I want to know if it's an adjective phrase or an adverb phrase.
But Miss, clause can also describe or modify a noun in the prepositional phrase.
The object of preposition.
Yes, but what? يعني how is it related here?
Like she means, I guess, of the cake that she bought, for example. Of the cake is an prepositional phrase. Cake is object of preposition. So, and we have an adjective clause. So can it describe it?
It describes a noun. It describes a noun. I don't care which kind of noun is it. It comes after the noun it modifies. Maybe this noun is subject. Maybe this noun is predicate. Maybe this noun is object of preposition. Maybe this noun is predicate nominative. Maybe this noun is a direct object or indirect object. No, it should be a noun. Which kind of noun? I don't know. Okay?
Yeah.
When I have essential adjective clause and non-essential adjective clause. Essential adjective clause, I cannot eliminate it from the sentence. Non-essential, I can eliminate, it comes between two commas. That's it. The last part to be said today, that sometimes I can remove the relative pronoun. Sometimes I can remove or eliminate the relative pronoun. How would I understand? This is adjective clause, teacher. From understanding. So, the letter which is sent last week is important. The letter sent last week is important. Where did which and is when, teacher? I can eliminate the introductory of the adjective clause as long as I can understand. The letter sent last week is important. How would I know, teacher, that sent last week is a subordinate clause? How would I know? What is sent last week doing here? The letter sent last week. What is the job of sent last week? It has no job. The letter subject is important. What is sent last week? That was sent last week, which was sent last week. So I understand from the meaning, but it can be eliminated.
But okay. It's not close anymore.
It is close. And he says to you that in talking you can eliminate them. Okay. They are there. They are there, but we just eliminated them. Okay?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, dear. Let's answer quickly. Yes, let's answer exercise number 3. We'll try to be quick, girls, because we are running out of time. Okay? Question number 1. Dana Wael. Rima. Bilqis. Durra.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Durra, 1. Where is the adjective clause?
It's who has traveled around the world.
Excellent. Fatima, number 2.
Yes, miss. Which is in central Mexico?
3. Najwa. Excellent, yeah, Fatima. 3. Najwa.
That she recommends.
That she recommends. Are you good, Najwa? Are you okay?
No, yeah, I am.
Yes. Ghada, 4.
Miss, I can see your hair.
Can you hear me, miss?
Oh, oops. Thank you, girls.
Who has traveled?
Yes, who has traveled there? Ghada, 5. Oh, Ghada answered 4. 5, Dareen.
Yes, miss. Destination in
Which starts with relative pronoun. Starts with relative pronoun.
Which is the capital of Nepal?
Nepal, yes. Jumana. 6, ya Jumana. Jude.
Yes, miss.
Jude,
Miss,
6.
I guess there is none.
Yes, there is none, ya Jude. Excellent. Lana Maher, 7.
Which is not far from the
Kuiper Pass. Excellent. Kuiper Pass, yes. Liliane. 8. Liliane, are you here?
Yes, miss.
There is none, ya Liliane. That's why it took too long searching for one. Liliane, after Liliane, Lina Iyad. Lina Iyad. Lina Ammar. 9. Starts with relative pronoun or relative adverb, where and when.
Modern Iranian?
Yes, where modern Iranian culture flourishes. Yes. Bilqis, Tanya Bilqis, are you here? Jumana, Rama, Rima. Note.
Which is a university from
Town in Venezuela. Excellent, guys. Yalla, see you. See you when? Sunday? Yes, Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah. See you on Sunday. Bye, guys.
Goodbye, miss.
Have a nice weekend, guys.
Have a nice day.
Bye, guys.